Welcome to Bills Nation Daily, your ultimate daily dose of everything Buffalo Bills. Hit that subscribe button and join the most passionate Bills fans as we break down all the latest news, highlights, and game analysis. Go Bills! The Miami Dolphins' loss to the Buffalo Bills on Sunday has sparked an incredible storm of controversy and chatter across the NFL world. Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins' head coach, didn't hold back after the 31-21 defeat, and his comments are sending ripples far beyond the stadium. According to McDaniel, the game was stolen, a bold claim that has immediately ignited debates on sports shows, social media, and among fans of both teams. Analysts are dissecting every call, every whistle, and every replay, trying to make sense of why a coach of McDaniel's reputation would use such loaded language. The Dolphins have been riding a wave of momentum coming into the game, and the defeat feels more than just a loss. It feels like a statement from the coach that he believes fairness was compromised. This is particularly explosive given the intensity of the rivalry, where every pass, sack, and turnover is scrutinized under a microscope. McDaniel's passionate post-game press conference hinted at more than frustration. It hinted at a perception of injustice that could have far-reaching consequences for refereeing scrutiny and lead discussions. Fans immediately took to Twitter and forums to voice their outrage or support, creating a whirlwind of speculation that has dominated headlines since Sunday night. Some argue that McDaniel is simply speaking emotionally, defending his team after a disappointing loss, but others are digging into every controversial play of the game, claiming that certain penalties and non-calls may have directly influenced the final outcome. Sports analysts are comparing the Dolphins' offensive line breakdowns, the timing of the Bills' drives, and the controversial calls that led to scoring opportunities, questioning whether these moments were simply bad luck or evidence of a deeper officiating issue. McDaniel's choice of words, saying the game was stolen, has made this incident more than just a simple post-game rant. It has become a talking point that could affect league policies and referee accountability. Even casual fans are now looking back at highlights, re-examining every decision by the officiating crew. Social media influencers and sports commentators have begun creating content dissecting frame-by-frame plays, highlighting moments where the Dolphins could argue they were wronged. Every angle, every slow-motion replay, every commentator opinion feeds the narrative that McDaniel may be onto something, or at least that his team was treated unfairly. The tension in the locker room after the game was reportedly palpable, with sources close to the Dolphins suggesting that McDaniel's words reflect a sentiment shared by players who felt the momentum shifted due to questionable officiating. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, running back Raheem Mostert, and wide receivers all had moments where calls, or the lack thereof, seemed to impact their ability to execute. Coaches and players often speak in measured terms after a loss, but McDaniel's language was uncharacteristically blunt, signaling that he believes the integrity of the game was compromised. Analysts have noted that McDaniel has built a reputation for tactical brilliance and emotional intelligence, making this outburst all the more shocking to observers. The narrative now isn't just about the Dolphins losing a game. It's about whether officiating integrity is being questioned at the highest level of professional football. The conversation is expanding beyond Miami, as Bills fans defend their team, while neutral observers question the influence of refereeing on such a high-stakes match. Every podcast, broadcast, and live stream is now debating. Was this a game stolen, or was it simply a hard-fought victory by Buffalo? Inside sources have hinted that McDaniel may take the next steps by addressing the NFL's officiating office directly, raising formal concerns about specific calls made during critical drives. There is growing speculation that the Dolphins could request a review, not for the purpose of overturning the score, which is highly unlikely, but to bring awareness to what they perceive as inconsistencies in rule enforcement. The implications are massive, because if a head coach publicly challenges the officiating at this level, it could set a precedent for future games and influence how referees manage high-pressure matches. The media has latched onto every word McDaniel has uttered, creating headlines that suggest a brewing confrontation between Miami and the league's officiating committee. Sports talk radio is alive with debate, replaying clips over and over, analyzing penalties, touchdowns, and controversial calls. The sense of urgency and injustice in McDaniel's statements has made this loss feel larger than the scoreboard, turning a 10-point defeat into a flashpoint for discussion about fairness, accountability, and competitive integrity in the NFL. Meanwhile, fans of the Dolphins have embraced McDaniel's comments with fervor, sharing memes, videos, and reaction clips that portray the loss as a robbery rather than a defeat. Social media engagement around the game has skyrocketed, with hashtags trending that reference both the controversial calls and McDaniel's outspoken nature. Analysts are pointing out that this game could serve as a defining moment in McDaniel's tenure, not necessarily in terms of wins and losses, but in shaping his image as a coach willing to confront controversy head-on. The narrative is no longer just about the Dolphins' performance. It's about perception, public discourse, and the polarizing effect a single game can have on fan communities and media coverage. The ripple effects of McDaniel's remarks may last weeks, with speculation growing about possible repercussions for the referees involved and whether the league will publicly address these claims. Every angle of this story is being consumed with heightened attention, as fans, commentators, and analysts attempt to parse emotion from fact and fairness from perception. In the end, the Dolphins' defeat to the Bills is being remembered less for the scoreline and more for the narrative surrounding it, as McDaniel's declaration that the game was stolen injects a sense of drama and urgency that few post-game comments manage to achieve. The rumor mill is alive with speculation about what comes next. Will the Dolphins officially appeal certain calls? Will McDaniel face scrutiny from the league? Will this change the way referees are perceived in subsequent games? These questions are fueling ongoing discussions, as insiders hint at behind-the-scenes meetings and strategy sessions in Miami. The dynamic has shifted from a simple win-loss analysis to a story of potential injustice, and it's captivating audiences far beyond those who watch the game live. McDaniel's statements are not just about defending his team. They are about creating a narrative, a lens through which fans and analysts alike will view the outcome, the officiating, and the rivalry itself. The drama surrounding this game will be dissected for weeks, becoming part of NFL lore, and ensuring that McDaniel's words resonate well beyond a single Sunday afternoon. The aftermath of the Dolphins' loss to the Bills is now a wildfire of speculation, rumor, and heated debate, as fans and insiders alike try to decipher what McDaniel truly meant by saying the game was stolen. While some argue that this is simply a coach venting frustration after a high-stakes defeat, others suggest that McDaniel is dropping hints about something more substantial, perhaps signaling internal dissatisfaction with how the league handles officiating consistency. The timing of his comments adds fuel to the fire, because this isn't just any loss. It's a divisional showdown with playoff implications, a game where every decision, every penalty, and every dropped opportunity becomes magnified. Social media platforms are overflowing with breakdowns of critical moments, where every nuance of the referee's calls is being replayed, analyzed, and debated by armchair analysts and professional commentators alike. Every slow-motion clip, every highlight reel, every what-if scenario is circulating, creating a sense of collective outrage among Dolphins fans and skepticism among neutral observers. Rumors about behind-the-scenes meetings are swirling, suggesting that the Dolphins' front office might be coordinating with the coaching staff to address perceived inconsistencies, not just for this game, but to potentially influence how future matchups are officiated. The ripple effects of McDaniel's statement could extend far beyond one Sunday, shaping league-wide perceptions and conversations about fairness and accountability in officiating. Speculation about the specific calls that McDaniel found questionable has reached fever pitch, with analysts and fans dissecting every penalty, every missed flag, and every questionable replay review. The most controversial moments seem to revolve around critical third-down situations and scoring drives where the Dolphins felt momentum was lost unfairly. Some pundits suggest that a missed holding call or a non-existent pass interference penalty could have swung the game's outcome, while others argue that the Dolphins' own mistakes contributed equally to the loss. Yet, the narrative that McDaniel pushed, that the game was stolen, has captivated audiences, creating a storyline that is more compelling than the final score itself. Podcasts, live streams, and YouTube channels are dedicating hours to analyzing frame-by-frame evidence, debating whether officiating inconsistencies are systemic or merely isolated errors. The rumor mill speculates that McDaniel's comments are a strategic move, designed not only to motivate his team, but also to send a message to the league and refereeing committee that Miami will not quietly accept perceived injustice. The conversation is evolving into a broader discussion about the subjectivity of refereeing and how single pivotal decisions can have outsized consequences in games of this magnitude. Fans, commentators, and insiders alike are now treating McDaniel's post-game remarks as more than mere rhetoric. They are a potential precursor to formal league scrutiny. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. Inside the Dolphins organization, whispers suggest that the team is analyzing the game with almost forensic detail, highlighting moments that could be referenced in internal league communications or even official complaints. Players are reportedly frustrated, not only by the loss, but by the sense that pivotal calls may have gone against them, changing the flow and momentum of the contest. Observers note that when a head coach publicly claims a game was stolen, it usually signals that internal discussions have already begun, examining every angle, every play, and every referee decision. There is speculation that McDaniel may continue to make subtle, pointed comments in upcoming interviews or press conferences, gradually building a narrative that challenges officiating practices without directly accusing individuals. The rumors extend further, suggesting that the Dolphins could potentially influence league-wide discussions about officiating consistency if the narrative gains enough traction. Across social media and sports media outlets, clips of McDaniel's press conference are shared repeatedly, with commentary dissecting tone, body language, and choice of words, all feeding into the growing perception that Miami believes it was wronged. The intrigue surrounding these statements has created a storyline that captivates both Dolphins fans and neutral viewers, ensuring that this game will be remembered not just for the loss, but for the controversy it sparked. The public reaction to McDaniel's statement has been explosive, with hashtags and commentary threads proliferating across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Memes, reaction videos, and breakdowns of contentious plays dominate feeds, turning a single post-game press conference into a viral moment that extends far beyond typical sports news. Sports analysts and former players weigh in, offering their perspectives on whether the stolen game claim has merit or is simply an emotional response from a frustrated coach. Some insiders even suggest that the narrative could influence how referees approach future Dolphins games, consciously or subconsciously aware that every call may now be under heightened scrutiny. Rumors abound that the NFL may conduct internal reviews of the officiating for this particular matchup, as league officials try to balance transparency with maintaining authority over referees' decisions. The speculation intensifies when former referees and commentators begin analyzing missed calls, replay review outcomes, and penalty patterns, lending a sense of credibility to the idea that the Dolphins' concerns are not entirely unfounded. For Miami fans, McDaniel's boldness in calling out perceived injustice is rallying a sense of unity and defiance, creating a narrative that positions the team as both underdogs and victims of circumstance. The rumor landscape is now filled with possibilities, from league intervention to media scrutiny, ensuring that the conversation will continue to dominate headlines in the days and weeks to come. Beyond the immediate reactions, there is growing discussion about the long-term implications of McDaniel's remarks. If the NFL chooses to publicly respond or investigate specific calls, it could set a precedent for how teams address officiating controversies in the future. Analysts speculate that the Dolphins' narrative may inspire other coaches to speak out more openly, leading to a shift in league culture where transparency and accountability are emphasized. Rumors of behind-the-scenes meetings with league officials circulate, with speculation that McDaniel is positioning Miami to be a leading voice in advocating for clearer standards and more consistent enforcement of rules. Social media continues to play a pivotal role as fans mobilize to support the team, sharing highlights, expressing outrage, and building a communal sense of purpose around what many perceive as an unfair outcome. The controversy has transcended the game itself, becoming a topic of broader discussion about sportsmanship, officiating integrity, and the pressures of high-stakes competition. Even casual observers are now aware of the situation, and the rumor-driven narrative ensures that every replay, every call, and every commentary clip will be scrutinized for signs of bias or error. McDaniel's statement has thus become a catalyst, not just for conversation, but for speculation about the evolving relationship between teams and league officiating. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.